Well, hello, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Joy and Gratitude. I am here with my co host, Miss Beth Mercurio, and we have an exciting guest. We have someone that is going to open your eyes to a whole new way of regulating and feeling your wholeness, and that is Miss Heather Daley. Beth, could you introduce us to Heather?
Hi, yes, I'd be happy to and honored to. Hello, Heather. And Neo, as always, wonderful to see you and be with you today and this morning here. So Heather and I met through a mutual friend and our mutual interest in somatics and understanding that our bodies play a huge role in our lives. And as you mentioned, Neo, in our completeness and our wholeness in living a fulfilled life. And so we've been back and forth sharing kind of our different experiences, and she is a clinical social worker with over 20 years of experience helping humans in life transition, and especially women, which of course I am drawn to as well. We talk about that sometimes too. But I mean, fundamentally, she is now certified in polyvagal informed therapy, which I think sounds like this kind of incredible thing in a lot of words. And I want her to share because it is pretty incredible what it is and why we care. So, Heather, welcome to the Joy and Gratitude podcast. And please just share with us a little bit about yourself and why you care and why we should care about the vagus nerve and polyvagal informed therapy.
Well, thank you so much, Neo. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Beth, of course. And I'm very excited to be here. And my nervous system is excited too. But grounded. Yeah, I've been, as you introduced, I've been a therapist for about 20 years. But 7 years ago, I started to notice just the importance of the inclusion of the body and learning more about my clients and following them. They all were very clear about their stories. They knew exactly about their history, could remember their histories, but ultimately there was a lot of patterns and behaviors and body memory stuff that was still present for them. And even for myself personally, it resonated with me. I said, I'm still working through, I have, IBS. I feel anxiety and I still understand all the things that led up to this. And I'm still working with some of these lived, alive feelings in me that feels dysregulating.
Uh-huh.
And so I started to research and just started to see how can I first help myself. And then, because always, you want to really support self so you can really support others. And so, right? And so
Yes.
I need to find my ground first and understand what's happening for me so then I can support the women that are, in my life. And so I started to research and found some trainings in somatic therapy. And within that training, it was basically a 7-year long process. I was introduced to polyvagal theory as a way to really create and connect to deeper wisdom in the body by understanding the nervous system. And really, the polyvagal theory allowed me, it was like an aha moment where I could really shift into a more compassionate and honest way with being with myself, a really true sense of vulnerability that I was not able to access until I started doing somatic work. And somatic is really body. That's really what it means.
Uh-huh.
Heather, can I pause you for 1 second?
Sure.
You said this word that I feel like is being used so much in our lives these days. And I just want to take a moment. When you say dysregulated, can we just help talk about what that means? Because I feel like it's being used a lot. I use it a lot. I find myself using it a lot. But I also find that not everybody knows what that means. So can we just like time out and can you share when you say dysregulated, can you just talk a little bit about what that really even means?
Sure. So, well, it starts with like the polyvagal theory. So, Stephen Porges was the creator of the polyvagal theory. And really, back in the 1990s, which isn't that far away, he was studying heart rate patterns and how they relate to the behavior in newborns and in people with developmental disabilities. And ultimately, he noticed that the vagus nerve played a huge role in how people respond to stress and
Mm.
how their bodies stay calm or shift into two survival modes. Okay.
Mhm.
And the vagus nerve, really, just to clarify, I know you both know, but it's your 10th and longest cranial nerve. And it's Latin for the wanderer, which I think is pretty cool because ultimately it starts up here and it connects to some of the most important body parts, your heart, your lungs, your gut, which was key for me, right?
Mhm.
So, and ultimately what puzzled him is that the vagus nerve was both protective and life threatening. And he called this the vagal paradox. So,
Mm.
by studying this, and how by studying how the heart and the autonomic nervous system, back to what you said about dysregulation, the
Yes.
autonomic nervous system is basically, we all have one, right? And so it's a universal collective human experience to have an autonomic nervous system,
Mm.
right? And he was studying how the heart and the autonomic nervous system respond in different situations. He began to map out a layered response system that our bodies are constantly scanning for safety and for danger. And
Mm.
and these responses respond. The body will respond in ways that affect our emotions, affect our relationships, and our health. Right.
Mm.
So, in essence, the polyvagal theory is a science of feeling safe by understanding our body's responses in three worlds: within ourselves, with the world around us, and in between. So, like the three of us in this moment, our nervous systems, mine, yours, and Neo's, we are scanning each other. We
Sure.
are scanning each other beneath the surface, and it's automatically. We're noticing, we're listening to prosody of voice. We're watching eye contact. We're watching the tilting of head, right? And it's understanding, right? Our nervous system's like, I see you, I feel you, you belong here.
Mhm.
Is it auditory as well? So I'm thinking to myself, we have
Oh,
people
yes.
that are listening, right?
Yes,
That they're
yes,
not watching
Absolutely.
us. I think watching us, you can see our interaction. But for those that are only listening, like, are they too kind of doing the same by voice and tone and
prosody
all
of
of
voice. That's prosody,
that?
right? So we're
Okay,
listening
perfect.
to, because also the middle ear is connected in this. It's that face to heart connection. So middle ear,
Mm.
the eyelids, the social gaze, they can't see us, but also you can, by vocalizing, swallowing, breathing, all of those things are included in what's happening, right? So if you
Okay.
can
Absolutely.
imagine, it's all happening, you and I, and it changes minute to minute, right?
You know,
Something can,
it has a lot to do also with tone
yep,
and
Mm.
yep,
rate of speech.
it,
All these things have a direct connection. And I want our listeners to understand that this happens in every aspect of your connection with a human and
100%.
with yourself. And that includes at work, that includes with your child, that includes with your spouse. So when we hear that word regulating, we're hearing it now in leadership, we're hearing it in parenting, we're hearing it in just social interaction. So that's why we're so excited about Heather. So tell us that what to do with this wonderful vagus nerve
I
because
love it.
I'm
Thank
excited.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So this is perfect because in terms of those three worlds, right? I have a little exercise that we could do if that sounds. And
Yes.
it's
Let's do
and
it.
always my offerings are invitations. So ultimately, you can choose to or not to because the nervous system always needs three elements. The nervous system needs to understand context, the who, what, when, where, and the why, and it also needs choice. And that's why it's invitational. And the nervous system needs to know, because remember that facial scanning
Hmm.
needs to know, like, I don't have to do this, do I? Right? So, nope, you don't have to if you don't want to. And what's even best is it also needs, the third is connection. It needs connection regardless, right? Regardless of the no, regardless of the yes, I'm still here. You still belong here, even with your no, right? So So, which is so beautiful, right? And even like,
So
even as I
magical.
say that, notice your body as I say that. You still belong here, even with the no, right? It's like, thank you. You sink in, right? Did you notice that
Yes,
drop?
I
Right. So
totally
those,
dropped.
yeah. So that's that like awareness of self, to know that I feel that support. As we talked earlier before we started, like, the feet, like feeling the edges of the feet on the ground. When you feel the drop, you're like, oh, my edges are supported, even if I say no,
That's right.
right? Which is huge. So back to the nervous system and just understanding. So neuroception, right, is one of the three organizing principles. Neuroception, all that means is detection without awareness, right? So the body's neurocepting, right? So when it comes to understanding that face heart connection, I wanted to just do a little exercise just so you can get a picture of this vagus nerve, as Neo just asked, right? To understand where it goes, right?
Mm.
So this is not my exercise. Deb Dana, who's a clinician, she's well known in the polyvagal world, and really she's a translator. She translates Stephen Porges' work so that it can be applicable and it can be understandable. And so this exercise is a face heart exercise, and it's going to show you the vagus nerve's path, right? But not only that, it's an exercise that I offer and invite you to do because it's a very simple way that I ground myself.
Oh,
Mm.
So this is something it's a toolbox to take away today. So really what it is there's going to be three positions I'm going to show you. Okay? So you can just watch me. So the first is right hand to cheek. And this is really where that heart connection starts. And just even notice just right hand to cheek when you do this. The second is left hand to heart. And then take the right hand and then move it to your belly. So right to your belly, and just pause and wait. And then go to the left side. Left hand to cheek, right hand to chest, left hand to belly. And really what we're doing is we're showing the connection from face to heart to lung to belly. And just imagine as you start to do this at your own tempo, this is the pathway of the vagus nerve. Really, all those sensory pathways, the fibers connecting these physical locations is really what our bodies are doing when it's scanning, right? And really, what we're saying here is, and I invite you to do this, you can say it quietly or even out loud. I see you. I feel you. You belong here. And just pause. I see you. I feel you. You belong. Notice what you feel. Because through these pathways, you're sending and searching for signs of welcome and signs of warning. And there's no good or bad, right? It's just information. So, as I said, this is a way for me to regulate.
It's like instant regulation. Can you repeat, Heather, um, for those that are listening, I would love to just take a moment. I think for those that were watching, they could see Neo and I playing with you, and they could probably visually see us all dropping
Mhm.
into this incredible, calmer place, like holding ourselves in belonging. But I would love to invite, as you have said very clearly, an invitation that our listeners now know, like, okay, we're going to do this. Heather's going to use the words, first stating where you're placing the hands, and then stating what to say. So I would love to ready our listeners to know that you're going to do this right now and that they can play along with us because I got so into it that I didn't have to remember, right? It became intuitive, but I have a feeling if I was listening, it might not have been so intuitive. So I would love to just pause, get everybody, whether you're watching or listening, let's do this again. I think it's so incredible. And it is a tool that I do hope everybody will walk away with and know that they can use at any time, at any moment for themselves. So that would be amazing.
You want me to just run through it one more time? Yes.
Yeah, where you place
Totally.
the hands.
Yes,
Yeah, I would love
absolutely. So this exercise again is just a way to tone your vagus nerve, and it basically, which I'm going to explain right after this, it's basically activating what the most crucial place, one of the pathways in your nervous system, which is the ventral pathway, which is your place of safety. So it's activating that parasympathetic nervous system that's the opposer of the sympathetic that calms your body down. Back to what is dysregulation? This is an active somatic body gesturing that can regulate you within, as you just both witnessed. And I was watching both of you, I witnessed the drop. So coming into body. So this is a very simple, like even if you were home and or you were about to present somewhere, it's a simple thing you could do in the bathroom, just to come into self,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And you're activating all your senses in that moment,
Or
right?
after your child really frustrates you and you think you're gonna run out of the house, just don't
Yes.
run out of the house, go into another room,
Yep. And
won't
take
say
this
anything,
time,
and do this. Yes.
right?
Yes.
This is
Okay.
Incredible.
this
So
is
let me,
so
I'll just,
powerful.
yeah. So it's just the three positions. One, you first start, it can be right or left, but you start with your right hand to right cheek and you pause. And I invite you to also, you can say this to yourself quietly or out loud. I see you.
I see.
Then left hand to heart center. I feel you.
Mm,
And then take the right hand to belly. You belong here. And then remove left hand to left cheek. I see you.
I see.
Right hand to heart center. I feel you.
I
Left hand to belly. You belong.
feel
You belong.
And I always usually have a deep breath at that, taking it in, right? That pause that we often don't give each other, ourselves to do, is just to sense and feel, notice. And remember, I always say this, whatever you notice is not good or bad, it's just information, right? Some people may need to do another round, right?
Mhm.
Depending upon what's happening in your life, right? I've had to do 5 or 6 rounds sometimes, and that's it's not good or bad, it's just where we are, right? And that's the learning which I love about this. This type of therapy is so non-judgmental.
Mm,
Once you understand that your autonomic nervous system is just protecting you. That's all it's doing. So this dysregulation is really, thank God. Thank God we have these autonomic nervous systems that are constantly scanning, that
hmm.
are moving us into a place where we're ready to protect ourselves. Or if that gets too overwhelming, we drop even further into dorsal, which I'm going to teach you about in a second, which is that shutdown place, which is that place
Mhm.
of really where you're conserving energy, right? And I'll give you some flavors of what that is. And we all have different flavors of our nervous system, but universal, which is great. And we get a flavor of what dorsal's like. And thank goodness we have that because we're conserving energy because our body's protecting us. It's all in
Mm,
service of survival. And so the judgment and the criticism and that negative talk that we all get into, that negativity bias, it removes that because it's really teaching us that, hey, no, this is my body's way of regulating. It may be on autopilot, because that's why we do somatic work, is to take the pause to really teach the nervous system right now, in this moment, with these energies. Do I have to respond this way? Do I have
Mm.
to respond this way? Or can I actually find some ground, pause, then respond?
You
Right?
know, Heather, not only does this give you a tool that is life changing, because I'm a big believer of the bathroom can save you. Things go crazy, run to the bathroom, get yourself together.
Yeah,
There's no crying in business. You do that in the bathroom. There's no,
totally.
you regulate in the bathroom.
Right.
Um, but last week I had to have some nerve tests done. And these are the ones that they do electrodes and injections into your muscle and your nerve. And they
Mm,
see how much pain they could put you in
wow.
to see how your nerves are reacting. And while I was there, a nurse went on to tell me the story of this little child that they thought the machine was broken because no reactions whatsoever. So imagine if you had no ability to know that you needed protection, that you needed safety. We are so blessed to be able to feel and to be able to do that pause, run to the bathroom, and get our heart to lower from the palpitation into a slower, because that's what happened to me. I don't know what happened to Beth, but for me, my heart rate went down. And I actually could tell because I'm on a heart monitor and I could see it. That's why I kept looking down. I was looking at my heart monitor and I could see my heart rate going down. Um, and it was so cleansing and clarity. So do understand, this is not hocus pocus. This is your body giving you the opportunity to say it is well.
100%. That beautifully said. It's exactly what it is. It's rewiring, right? Because to your point, Neo, which you brought me into this, like when we're young, right? Children, they don't have the capacity, right, for the pause, right? So this is where, and I will talk about this, but this is where it's so crucial, because children rely on the caregiver to regulate, right? So it's so crucial, because a lot of this work is a rewiring for adults. I mean, I work with adults, right? Because most likely, because we're human and we're messy, their caregivers, and not even just the caregivers, the community at large, right? Which is caregiving, it's a container. Okay. So we are repairing and rewiring just years of where there was misattunement, right? Where there wasn't a pause, Neo. And you said that so beautifully, because, I can remember lots of misattunements, right? So it's a part of teaching the nervous system to co-regulate, because what you neurocept, you can't change what you feel. You feel what you feel. It's autonomic. We're learning that, right? But we can change how we respond to what we feel,
That
right?
To me,
That's
that's
it.
everything about this tool, is this ability to have choice. Like you mentioned, choice, the invitation. And I think, and you mentioned, which all of this is just so powerful, self. Neo and I talk all the time about, you have to start with self to then extend or co-regulate, whatever you want to talk about with others. But this idea that when you say, oh, my body's doing something, just that. And we've been trying to talk about this, I feel like, throughout our whole Joy and Gratitude podcast. Is like that idea of first noticing, like sensation and noticing. And I remember on an earlier episode, people not knowing what noticing meant. Like,
Yes,
what does it mean to notice?
right.
And so this is that same moment where we start to attune to ourselves and go, whatever that person just said. I mean, Neo and I have had this. I mean, Heather, all of us have had it. When somebody says something and you're like, I don't, like the ick, I'll call it the ick. It's like, I just got the ick and I don't know why yet. But if I can just say, I know I have it and I'm going to go do my hand to face to heart to belly, and I'm going to calm myself down. This idea of clarity, which then gives you another choice, is incredible. And I feel like it's hard, but just knowing that the ick is telling you something,
Yeah.
and
It's information.
you
Yeah.
will default if you don't make a new choice, right? You'll go, whether that be lash out or, react in a defensive way. Or so the beauty of our ability to just to feel it and go, oh, that's something. I don't even know what it is, but I know that if I take a moment, if I pause and I connect to my body, I will have an ability to more clearly understand what it might be. And it might not be that you get it right away, right? It's just like
Uh,
that you can become curious about, why did that upset me so much? Like,
Uh,
why am I like physically
yeah.
not, I don't feel good. Something about whatever just happened, whatever just was asked, whatever was just said. So I think this is just an incredible tool for all of us to just take it from noticing into this beautiful pause to gain some clarity to make a new choice.
100%. Yep. It's really just, basically providing a framework. And
Hmm.
it's like a big giant toolbox. And to really, and you said this word curiosity, which I love, because you cannot have curiosity unless you feel safe, right? Right?
So true. Yes.
So this pause, right? We're learning to rewire so that the body can respond to stress. It's not about always being safe. Not possible. Just not. It's about flexibility, right? To be like, okay, I'm sensing the ick, like you said so beautifully, whatever that is, whatever the ick is for everyone. We
Yeah.
all have icks. And
Yes.
it's not putting blame on anybody. It's just like I sense something that this energy, it's not about the person, it's the energy. Because hey, we've all had bad days. Sometimes I'm sure I give off the ick, because right, for someone, because it's not me as a person, it's about the energy that where
Yes.
you are in your nervous system, because I'm a human and I'm messy. So sometimes I will come into my relationships dysregulated. And
absolutely.
so the receiver is getting a place of dysregulation. They may be getting an ick, but it removes by using this language of the nervous system. It's like, oh, okay, I'm sensing this ick energy, not the person. I'm sensing this ick
Yes.
energy from them. Okay, so I'm feeling that. I want to get grounded first to understand. So I'm feeling this energy. What do I want to do with that? What do I want to do with that? How do I want to respond? Right? And that's the key. And so this explains, right? The polyvagal theory explains why we may shut down, why we become overly reactive, how feelings of safety can literally rewire how we think and how we feel, and how we become healthy in our bodies, right? Um, like you even said, Neo, you noticed your heart rate. You actually saw.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
not, Mom. This is actual physical scientific evidence. You are basically toning your vagus nerve, which is the central, monitor for your system that regulates everything. By doing this, if you get that in a place of safety, you can respond accordingly in the way that's really authentic and really coming from a place from not of, which we'll talk about those three different states, which is, the safe space, which is ventral, the mobilized place, which is the first line of defense, which is sympathetic. You've heard fight or flight. And then the last line of defense is that dorsal shutdown place. And basically, we're supporting our clients by meeting, and ourselves right now by meeting the lived experience in each of those states, right? Is it safe to feel here? Do I have to explode or shut down here? And remember, as children, we don't learn to regulate ourselves. And
Mm-mm.
this is the second piece of the organizing principles. We talked about neuroception. The second piece is co-regulation. Co-regulation, we don't learn to regulate ourselves, we learn to co-regulate. So
Hmm.
our nervous systems need to learn calm, right? Through connection with another calm individual or another calm energy, right? Is it safe to feel, right? So we need that calm, present caregiver. When our emotional needs are met, our bodies learn, I can feel. It's safe for me to feel actually what I'm feeling. I don't have to explode. I don't have to shut down. I can return to calm after stress. But like most of us, when those needs in childhood or early on are ignored, they're dismissed, they're misattuned, our bodies adapt. And I even feel it as I said that. As I said misattunement, I got this prickly on the back, right?
Yeah. It's almost like you shut down, right?
Yes. And that
The,
creates Neo, right? Yeah, you
yeah,
shut down.
you shut
And
down.
that creates a blueprint, right? And and then our body, that's how we regulate our emotions in adulthood. And this is from Harvard, this Harvard Center
Oh,
for
yeah.
Developing Child, right? It creates a blueprint, right? But the cool thing about it is that with somatic, polyvagal informed somatic work, right, you can repair all those past misattunements. We're doing it right now, the three of us.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be a therapeutic
Absolutely.
relationship. It can be like a really safe relationship where you can feel your nervous system, your autonomic nervous system can learn to be more resilient and flexible. So it's not permanent. It can be rewired. And it needs those three essential elements like context, choice, and connection. Like we
Right.
did, we practiced that with this, right? The heart to heart. But by supporting ourselves in a very therapeutic ventral place with others, we listen to the body's lived experience moment to moment. Then we can once we know where we are, we can understand what we need.
Yeah. And I think the energy is really that when you stated about energy, I think that that is so powerful uh, because energy influences other energy.
Totally.
So
Yep.
if you walk
Go ahead.
in after you've regulated yourself, you walk in back into that space after your glorious bathroom time, which I'm writing a book about bathrooms. Um,
I love it.
what happens is you walk into that room in calmness. You now gave permission to the rest of the room to be calm.
100%. Yep.
And now we've gotten to that second level. We've taken people from the hyper chaos to calm, to be able to listen, to be able to process, and then go to our number three. Take us there, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, because and you said so the safety of the bathroom. I love this.
Mhm.
So you like the bathroom is that ventral coming to this is the third, right? The third principle, which is the hierarchy, which is ventral, sympathetic, and dorsal, right? It's an hierarchy. It's ventral's always on top. You want to make your way back up there, that place of safety, the bathroom, like whatever that is for you, whatever, and we can talk about this next, and I'll share mine.
Yeah.
But when you think about this hierarchy, the key part to all this regulation, dysregulation is you need to know where you are in your body before you know what you need, right? Just like Neo so beautifully said, I need to get my ground before I enter that room. Because if I don't, then people are going to be coming off of my dysregulation. So it's
Mhm.
actually my duty as a speaker, as a leader, to find my ground. I can have my feelings. I can be anxious, right? I can be nervous. I can name that, meet those places, give them connection, right? But how I respond to my anxiety is my responsibility. And I have to learn to do that. It's a learned skill, right? And this understanding these three states will really provide this second toolbox, which we'll do next, is really just a takeaway of how to do that. And just to like drive this home a little more, if it's okay, like I'd like to explain the three states like
Yeah.
almost like a smart home, you
Mhm.
know, so, like, when you think about your nervous system states, the three of them, they're universal. We all have them, but we all have unique autonomic nervous systems in how they respond to each. So, when you think about the vagus nerve is like the central wiring system of your smart home, right? When things are running smoothly in the smart home, right? The lights are dim, the temperature's cozy and comfortable, and music is softly playing, right? So, just get a flavor of that. And then so this
I
is
know.
calm, safe,
That's good.
right? You got your blanket, everything's
Yeah,
good.
I'm like,
Yeah, right. You feel all your edges, feet on the ground, you've incense, whatever works, right? In your smart home for you, right? However, when the system will sense danger, and this is real or imagined, because remember, the body senses energy. The body cannot decipher, right? Especially if there's childhood misattunement. Remember, from 0 to 7, right? Oh, I didn't even know if I said this, but from 0 to 7, the prefrontal cortex is like not online. So it can't rationalize, it can't make sense of a lot of different things. It's felt. Boom. So it's all body, right? So when the smart home senses danger, real or imagined, it blasts an alarm. It's all, remember, autonomic, right? Fight or flight. So the first line of defense in that hierarchy, from safety, you move to sympathetic, where that alarm goes off. So it's a pathway. Or it'll move into shutdown, where it conserves energy, right? Where all the lights get really low and all the temperature goes off. It's conserving energy. And that's called the dorsal state. So ventral, sympathetic, dorsal. Those are your 3 states. Now, those are very clinical. I don't love them. So for me, home is what I call ventral. That's mine. It's like home, where I feel safe and good in my system. And some people don't even like the word body. So I like system because it's more neutral, right? So home is my place of safety. For sympathetic, frenetic. That's me. This is my sympathetic, right? So that's kind of what my sympathetic looks like. And for dorsal, it's sort of hollow, right? It's the shutdown. It's sort of a turtle going into its shell, right? Not good or bad, just information, right?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And it's autonomic for me, right? And hiding doesn't mean I hide in my room. Hiding is hiding vulnerability. It's can come off like, for me, apathy is my dorsal. I can go about my business in my life, but nothing's getting in emotionally, nothing's going out emotionally. Is that helpful?
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
know that for me, I disconnect. I mean, I can go blank in a minute. I will
Right?
do everything that I have to do for the day, but it's like nobody's home. I am
Nobody's
done.
home.
Oh,
Nobody's home.
Nobody's in
nobody's
the smart
home.
home. It's all
Nobody.
shut down.
It's shut down, boarded up, ready for the hurricane. It is gone.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And that vagus nerve, right? This is not happening, right? When you're in
Oh
dorsal,
no. Oh
there's
no.
no connection to it.
No.
So
There's no
this is not
connection to me.
online.
Yeah. There's
Yes.
no
There's
connection
no
to me.
connection.
Yes. Neo, exactly. There is no connection, and it's all in service of survival. The vagus nerve is constantly adjusting those settings all the time. It's always scanning and adjusting, and it's protecting you. It's just protecting you, right? So it encourages us to tune in. This is where the somatic work is so important. It encourages us to tune into those bodily cues to foster those safe and supportive relationships. So, using these techniques of deep breathing, the gestures, the somatic movement, co regulation with other calm individuals, that invites connection and invites that honest, lived vulnerability. So, I thought maybe, I don't know how much time we have left, but we could do another experiential.
Yeah,
Just
we have 2 minutes for another experiential, and also we have to still do our music and our
oh,
gratitude rock. So more to
okay.
come. Mhm.
So this is another Deb Dana practice. It's called Where Am I?
Okay.
And it's just like really kind of saying, in this moment right now, Neo, myself, and Beth, where are you now? Right? What do you notice? And just as you're in, and there's a sense, at least for me, I'm sensing passion, excitement, right? So I'm very grounded right now. I'm really connected, my heart. I'm playful. So there is I'm feeling sympathetic, but I have ground.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? So there's a
Yep.
playful component
Mm-hmm.
to it.
Yes.
It's like a bouncy feeling, right? So for me, like my ventral is calm, excited. My physical body feels relaxed. I have a quiet mind. My sympathetic is busy. hypervigilance, fawning, which is people pleasing. That's a go-to for me because I
Mm.
learned to do that, and that's my sympathetic. It's like my actual go-to. Worry and rumination, and sometimes anger. And a dorsal, which I shared with you, is apathy. That's when my sympathetic doesn't work and I drop into apathy. That's when I'm absolutely exhausted and drained, and there's just nothing going in. I got nothing for people. Just, but I'm functioning, I'm going, but there's not a
Uh-huh.
lot to connect to. So I just want to invite you guys to share what your flavors are for your as in this moment as you think about them.
Uh,
I can share. It might not be exactly what you're anticipating for the exercise, but I am so calm right now. I feel like, and I know it's because you said, and I've been like hanging on these words, and they were a while ago. So I'm literally like just in this zone that feels so lovely because you said that the that it wasn't personal. Like depersonalizing the ick energy has just been like sitting in my body in this like really lovely, peaceful place where I just feel like if we could all remember that, imagine what we would grant to each other
Oh,
if we realized that whatever ick energy came at us, it wasn't personal. Because we live in a world where, without knowing that, we're constantly bouncing off of each other's ick energy. And that I love this idea of like a personal responsibility to understand our ground such that when that ick energy comes, I am grounded enough to go, ooh, this isn't about me. And how can I show up? And I'm literally like, my hands are open, like in a place of, I can hold your ick energy. Like, I got you because I'm okay right now. I might not be able to do that all the time, certainly, but like I just feel how I feel so hopeful at this idea of depersonalized ick energy. So it's just like if Neo comes to me with her ick energy, I can just be like, "Hey Neo, I'm here. Like I'm right here with you." And like how can I support you? And literally look, I put my hand to my heart to be like, I have that capacity. I might not always have it, but when I have it, man, I'm going to share it. I'm going to show up with it. And so I know it's not exactly what you asked, but for me, there's this new level of how to personally ground in order to hold the ick energy that
yeah,
comes from others. Yeah,
beautiful. Because you're
I
you're
love that.
you're making space for yourself first in
Yes,
order
yes.
to meet
Hmm.
the ick energy, not hold it,
With
but meet it.
no, meet
Right.
it, and with the flexibility to go, there'll be days where I got my own ick energy. We're all gonna be,
Yeah, we're human. We're
it's
messy
yeah,
people.
we're messy, so I get that too, but I really love the tools to know how to show up in that way to make a different choice, and, it's really amazing, so Neo, sorry, what about you?
so I, I'm kind of going off what you did in the sense of going somewhere else, just because, Heather, honestly, I think I need time to process that and be able to put my three, because there's so much in
There
there.
is a lot.
But I have to be honest, one of the things that happened in this wonderful session is you explained flow.
Mm,
We talk so much in our podcast about flow, and we talk about the different feelings, and you literally explain what it feels like to go through flow. But you gave us the gift of the tool to help us reframe, be curious, and move forward and not get stuck in any individual of the three phases of flow.
mhm,
And I was just like totally had an aha moment
Aw,
over this session. And I love it. And I feel empowered by the
mhm,
fact that we are able to now understand that we have the capacity
mm,
to accept our feelings, but also regulate them.
yep.
Also
You
accept our calm and then be able to move on. So we've come full circle as who we are. And imagine if we really invested time in understanding more about this wonderful somatic work. Um, with that, I'd like
Yay.
to ask you,
Yay.
what song comes to mind for you as you're doing your somatic work or the feeling of the sharing that you've done with us today?
Hmm.
Oh boy. That what kind, I don't know exactly the name of the song, but I remember the show.
Okay.
It's Justin Timberlake's with those little cartoons dance. You can't
Oh,
stop the feeling. Can't
yeah.
stop the
Oh,
feeling.
Yes,
perfect.
yes. Oh, so
Oh,
good.
I'm like, what is it? Those little people dancing
yes,
around.
Yeah. Can't
yes.
stop the
Because
feeling.
it's kind of where I'm ending. When I said I was so playful, I was like ventral and a little sympathetic play. Like that's what I'm feeling. So,
Ah.
That's
with both of you. So this was such an honor, and I just feel very grateful. So thank you very much for
Well,
inviting me.
look at that. You played right into that for us, Heather. You feel grateful. So guess what? Now we're gonna do
And joyful.
gratitude and joyful, right? We're gonna do gratitude rocks, and I'm gonna reach in here. I'm connected to you energetically, as we've already described over and over. Clearly, we are connected energetically right now. So let's see what comes up. I've picked learn for Heather. So, Heather, what does the word
Yay.
learn bring up for you today?
Um, so I've learned today that I can include my full self and my sense of vulnerability as I take in new energies in a new environment. So I feel very grateful.
beautiful.
Wow, that
But
is beautiful.
I think that's the perfect word because we have learned so much today, and you have brought true joy and gratitude to our podcast. We're so grateful for you joining us and the fact that you have given us a toolkit for us to flow happily into our future.
Aw,
Thank you, Heather.
thank you.
Thank you, Heather.